Looking for incredible award-winning dramas without spending a dime? You are in luck. YouTube has become a treasure trove of classic cinema, hosting some of the most acclaimed films in history that you can stream right now. In this video, I will introduce you to 10 award-winning dramas that have stood the test of time, all available completely free on YouTube. From film noir masterpieces to gripping war dramas, these are the hidden gems you will not want to miss. Let's dive in. The Southerner, 1945. The Southerner is a remarkable 1945 drama directed by the legendary Jean Renoir in his American period. The film tells the story of Sam Tucker, a cotton picker who dreams of independence by running his own farm. When he inherits a patch of land, Sam moves his family, including his wife Nona, their 2 children, and his grandmother to begin their new life. They face numerous hardships including drought, floods, and hostile neighbors, testing their resilience and determination to make a living from the stubborn soil. What makes this film exceptional is its authentic portrayal of rural American life during the Great Depression, capturing both the harsh realities and the simple joys of farming. The film was nominated for 3 Academy Awards, including Best Director for Renoir, and stands as a testament to the human spirit's ability to persevere against overwhelming odds. Its beautiful cinematography and naturalistic performances create an immersive experience that feels almost documentary-like in its authenticity. This colorized version brings new life to an already powerful film, making the struggles and triumphs of the Tucker family feel immediate and relevant even today. Fog Island, 1945. Fog Island is a gripping 1945 mystery thriller that exemplifies the film noir style at its most atmospheric. The story centers on Leo Granger, a wealthy man who was framed for embezzlement by his business partners. After serving time in prison, Leo invites his former associates to his remote island mansion under the pretense of discussing business. What they do not know is that Leo has rigged the house with various death traps and plans to exact revenge on each of them. As a dense fog rolls in, cutting off the island from the mainland, the guests begin to meet mysterious and deadly ends. The film builds tension masterfully through its claustrophobic setting and shadowy cinematography, creating a sense of impending doom that permeates every scene. While not a box office hit upon release, Fog Island has gained cult status among film noir enthusiasts for its clever plot twists and effective use of the classic dark house formula. The performances, particularly by George Zucco as the vengeful Leo, bring a delicious menace to the proceedings. This film is a perfect example of how low-budget productions of the era could deliver thrills and suspense that rival bigger studio productions. Border Flight, 1936. Border Flight is a compelling 1936 action drama that captures the pioneering spirit of early aviation. The film follows Lieutenant Bob Halsey, a Coast Guard pilot stationed along the Mexican border, who is tasked with combating smugglers operating in the remote desert regions. When his girlfriend, Nurse Lieutenant Ann Merritt, is transferred to his station, their professional relationship develops into something more personal. Together, they face dangerous missions, tracking down illegal operations, while navigating the challenges of early aviation technology. The film features spectacular aerial sequences that were groundbreaking for their time, showcasing the daring maneuvers and risks taken by these early pilots. What makes Border Flight particularly noteworthy is its authentic depiction of 1930s aviation and the Coast Guard's role in border security. The film was praised upon release for its technical accuracy and thrilling action sequences, which used real pilots and aircraft rather than relying on rear projection or miniatures. While perhaps not as well known as other aviation films of the era, Border Flight offers a fascinating glimpse into a bygone era of flight and border enforcement, with enough romance and adventure to satisfy any classic film enthusiast. The North Star, 1943. The North Star is a powerful 1943 war drama that stands as one of the most politically significant films of its era. Directed by Louis Milestone, the film depicts the struggles of Ukrainian villagers resisting the Nazi invasion during World War II. The story follows the community of a collective farm in the Soviet Union, focusing on 2 young men, Kolya and Damian, who must transform from peaceful farmers into determined partisans fighting for their homeland. When German forces occupy their village, the residents face impossible choices between collaboration and resistance, with devastating consequences for those who stand against the invaders. The film was notable for its sympathetic portrayal of Soviet citizens at a time when the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics was America's ally against Germany, and it earned an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. Despite its historical significance, The North Star became controversial in the Cold War era and was briefly banned in the United States due to its positive depiction of Soviet communism. Today, the film can be appreciated for its moving performances, particularly by Anne Baxter and Dana Andrews, and its unflinching look at the human cost of war. The newly restored 4,000 pixel version brings renewed clarity to this historically important film, allowing modern audiences to experience its emotional impact as intended. The Sleeping Tiger, 1954. The Sleeping Tiger is a sophisticated 1954 psychological thriller that marked the first English-language film directed by the blacklisted American filmmaker Joseph Losey, working under a pseudonym. The film stars Dirk Bogarde as Frank Clemens, a petty criminal who attempts to rob the house of prominent psychoanalyst Dr. Clive Esmond. When caught, Frank is given an unusual choice: face prison or participate in an experiment where he will live with the doctor and his wife as part of a study in criminal rehabilitation. What follows is a tense psychological game as Frank manipulates the household, particularly forming a dangerous connection with the doctor's unhappy wife Glenda. The film explores themes of class, desire, and the thin line between civilization and savagery. Bogarde delivers a mesmerizing performance as the charming yet dangerous Frank, while Alexis Smith as Glenda brings depth to what could have been a stereotypical neglected wife. The Sleeping Tiger was ahead of its time in its psychological complexity and moral ambiguity, elements that would become hallmarks of Losey's later work. Though not a commercial success initially, the film has been reassessed as an important work in both Bogarde's career and the history of British cinema, showcasing how American filmmakers working in exile brought new sensibilities to European film production. Lone Shark, 1952. Lone Shark is a gritty 1952 film noir that stars the legendary George Raft in one of his most memorable roles. Raft plays Joe Gargan, an ex-con who returns to his old neighborhood to find it terrorized by a ruthless loan shark operation. When his childhood friend is victimized and subsequently commits suicide, Joe goes undercover to infiltrate the criminal organization and bring it down from within. What follows is a tense journey through the dark underbelly of urban crime, as Joe must maintain his cover while gathering evidence against the loan sharks. The film is notable for its realistic depiction of loan sharking practices, which were a serious problem in many American cities during the post-war period. Raft, who had real-life connections to organized crime before becoming an actor, brings an authenticity to his performance that elevates the material beyond typical B-movie fare. The film's stark cinematography and claustrophobic urban settings create a palpable sense of dread and moral decay characteristic of the best film noir. While perhaps not as well known as other noir classics, Lone Shark stands out for its social commentary and Raft's compelling performance, reminding viewers of the actor's considerable talent beyond his typecasting as a gangster. Sleuth, 1972. Sleuth is a masterfully crafted 1972 psychological thriller that represents the pinnacle of screen acting. The film features only two actors, the legendary Laurence Olivier as Andrew Wyke, a wealthy mystery writer, and Michael Caine as Milo Tyndall, a struggling hairdresser who is having an affair with Andrew's wife. When Milo visits Andrew's country mansion, the older man proposes a plan. Milo should steal his wife's jewelry so they can split the insurance money, allowing Andrew to be free of his wife and Milo to afford her lifestyle. What begins as a seemingly straightforward criminal proposition soon evolves into a deadly game of cat and mouse, with twists and turns that keep both characters and viewers constantly off balance. Based on the Tony Award-winning play by Anthony Shaffer, Sleuth was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, including Best Actor for both Olivier and Caine. The film is a tour de force of theatricality and meta-commentary on class, masculinity, and the nature of performance itself. The chemistry between Olivier and Caine is electric, creating a tension that builds to an explosive conclusion. Sleuth is a rare example of a film adaptation that actually enhances its source material through cinematic techniques, making it a must-watch for anyone who appreciates intelligent, character-driven thrillers. New York Confidential, 1955. New York Confidential is a hard-hitting 1955 film noir that offers a stark look at organized crime in post-war America. The film stars Broderick Crawford as Charlie Lupo, a second-generation mob boss who tries to maintain a veneer of respectability while running his criminal empire. When his impulsive son Nick gets involved in the family business, Charlie's carefully constructed world begins to crumble as Nick's violent methods attract unwanted attention from both law enforcement and rival gangs. The film was notable for its realistic depiction of mob operations, which were based on actual investigative journalism about organized crime. What sets New York Confidential apart from other gangster films of its era is its focus on the business aspects of crime, showing how modern corporations and criminal organizations share similar structures and challenges. The film's gritty documentary-style approach was groundbreaking at the time and influenced later crime films like The Godfather and Goodfellas. While perhaps not as well known as other noir classics, New York Confidential has been reassessed by critics as an important work in the crime genre, offering a fascinating glimpse into how American cinema portrayed organized crime before the mafia became a pop culture phenomenon. The film's tagline, "Hire a good killer, then a better one to kill him perfectly," captures its cynical view of criminal loyalty and the brutal realities of the mob world. Girl in the Secret Service, 1951. Girl in the Secret Service is an engaging 1951 crime thriller that offers a refreshing twist on the typical spy genre. The film stars Greta Thison as Greta Hallen, a beautiful and intelligent woman who joins the Secret Service to track down a counterfeiting operation. When her boyfriend is framed for a crime he did not commit, Greta goes undercover to infiltrate the criminal organization and clear his name. What follows is a series of daring missions, close calls, and clever disguises as Greta navigates the dangerous world of international crime. The film was ahead of its time in featuring a capable female protagonist who drives the action rather than serving as a mere love interest. While perhaps not as polished as bigger studio productions, Girl in the Secret Service compensates with its energetic pacing and Thison's charismatic performance. The film's tagline, "Woman on a Manhunt," perfectly captures its subversion of gender expectations for the era. Though modest in budget, the movie delivers all the intrigue, exotic locations, and suspense one would expect from a Cold War espionage thriller. It is a fascinating example of how B-movies of the 1950s sometimes pushed boundaries that more prestigious films would not touch, offering progressive elements within familiar genre frameworks. The Crooked Way, 1949. The Crooked Way is a dark and atmospheric 1949 film noir that exemplifies the genre's preoccupation with memory, identity, and moral ambiguity. The film stars John Payne as Eddie Rice, a World War II veteran who returns home with a case of amnesia, unable to remember anything from his past life. When he tries to reconnect with his former wife, Nina, he discovers that he was once a notorious criminal named Eddie Riccardi, who worked for the mob and double-crossed his associates. As Eddie struggles to reconcile his present self with his past actions, he becomes caught between the police who want to use him as an informant and the gangsters who want him dead. The film's title refers to Eddie's uncertain path forward should he embrace the criminal identity he cannot remember or forge a new identity as an honorable man. Payne delivers a compelling performance as a man tormented by a past he cannot recall but must confront. The film's expressionistic cinematography and shadowy urban landscapes create a sense of disorientation that mirrors Eddie's psychological state. While not as well known as other noir classics, The Crooked Way stands out for its psychological depth and its exploration of how much our identity is shaped by our actions rather than our memories. The film's tagline, "He has got a date with death," captures the inescapable fate that seems to await Eddie regardless of his choices. There you have it, 10 incredible award-winning dramas you can watch right now on YouTube without spending a penny. From film noir masterpieces to gripping war dramas, these films represent some of the finest cinema from Hollywood's golden age. Each one offers a unique window into the past while exploring timeless themes that still resonate today. I hope you will take the time to click through and experience these remarkable films for yourself. If you enjoyed this video and want more recommendations for free classic movies on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you do not miss our upcoming content. Which of these films are you most excited to watch? Let us know in the comments below and feel free to share any other free award-winning dramas you have discovered on YouTube. Thanks for watching and happy movie watching!